I'm Patrick, and welcome to the Silent Killers. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about the most infamous serial killers throughout history. We're going to be trying to figure out ways to help us better understand what kind of drove them to do the things that they did, their motives, and how they were just able to make the decisions that they were making throughout their murders. Today, we'll be talking about the Milwaukee Cannibal, also known as Jeffrey Dahmer. We're going to be talking about kind of how he did the things he did, why he did these things, kind of how his early childhood shaped him to the man that he became. We're also going to be talking about how he was able to manipulate the police and just kind of evade police for as long as he was able to do. And we're just going to be wrapping up with his legacy, just the cultural impact that he left, his murders, and his arrest. Well, yeah, now let's take a deep dive into what started it all, his childhood. Welcome back to the Silent Killers. And without further ado, let's dive into the early life of Jeffrey Dahmer. So Jeffrey Dahmer's life began in the year of 1960 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was brought up in what seemed to be a well-functioning family, just kind of a good, nice family overall. And his father, Lionel Dahmer, was a research chemist, and his mother, Joyce Dahmer, who just homemaker, kind of stayed around the house a lot. But no matter how good that family seemed on the outside, the inside was definitely kind of a struggle. Dahmer's mother kind of struggled with a lot of mental issues, and this forced her to have to focus more on herself, rather than focus on Dahmer and just kind of Jeffrey just kind of like trying to helping him out, kind of doing what a mother should do. But and his dad was a workaholic, so this kind of just left Jeffrey with a lack of connection of at home. And this kind of set the stage for the emotional detachment that he had to go through. Feeling a lot of isolation just in general. And when Jeffrey was a little kid, he seemed pretty normal. But up until the age of 4, he had a surgery for his hernia. And psychologists kind of believe that this is what kind of triggered the emotional detachment. This is where things started to get weird in Dahmer's life. But this is where he started to dissect animals. And so he started keeping their bones. And kind of as a teenager, this is where Dahmer started to become like very socially awkward, and this is where the problems kind of more appeared. They were like deeper problems, and he was super quiet, socially awkward, and this kind of made him a prime target for bullying back then. And Dahmer had little to no close friends, and with his parents' marriage falling apart, they got divorced when he was 18. This just kind of left Dahmer just kind of struggling. He fell into drinking heavily, and he started to really kind of question his sexuality, and he just didn't really understand how it was shaping out. But Dahmer's psychological development during these years was filled with isolation and hunger for control. And this was kind of where the things kind of started to just form, and where his sinister life really started to kind of take place. But make sure to join us for the next episode. And this is where we're going to be diving into just kind of his kill count and how he was able to evade the police so well. Hey there, welcome back to the 3-episode series about Jeffrey Dahmer, the Silent Killers. In this episode, we're going to be talking about his ability to evade the police and just his overall kill count. So, Dahmer took this first step into the sinister world in the year of 1978, where he killed Stephen Hicks, who was a hitchhiker that Dahmer ended up picking up and luring him back to his apartment with the promise of a drink. Once they got back to the apartment, this is where Dahmer killed Hicks with a dumbbell and then dismembered his body and held onto his remains. So the thing that was so disturbing about all of Dahmer's kills, just all his victims, how he did it, was nothing was just like a passionate, just like a compulsive, passionate type of thing. Everything was just so attention to detail, and he just didn't leave anything just to go by. And this is where Dahmer kind of fell in love with this process of just putting everything in his control, But Dahmer was able to go on this 17-man kill streak over the next 13 years, due to his ability to just manipulate his victims, the people around him, by saying things like the victims were his lovers, and just the bad smell was due to the spoiled meat in his fridge. But he would also say everyone was consenting to the drugging and all the kills were accidental. But and this was just a really different time back then, with all Dahmer's victims being homosexual and of color. People didn't really just care back then, just how it was, and just they didn't get the attention that they should have. So just kind of went under the radar. No one really cared as much as they should have. But yeah, I mean, all these disappearances, they didn't really care. But once his victims were lured into Dahmer's apartment, Dahmer would drug them, strangle them, and even take act in parts of necrophilia. And like I said, he would keep their body parts as mementos, for later to go look back on them or whatever. But yeah, Dahmer had some really sick, twisted fantasies, really wicked desires. But he was able to live this sort of double life because he was just able to slip through the cracks, by being able to manipulate people, like I said. But yeah, in the next episode, we're going to be discussing Dahmer's arrest, just kind of the legacy that Dahmer ended up leaving behind, the name Jeffrey Dahmer, the cultural impact that he left on the world. Welcome back to The Silent Killers, the 3-episode series of the Jeffrey Dahmer life. This is the third and final episode. We're going to be talking about the legacy and just kind of cultural impact that Dahmer left behind. So Dahmer's reign of terror kind of came to an end in the year of 1991, where a potential victim, Tracy Edwards, managed to escape from Dahmer's apartment, flag down 2 police officers, bring them back to Dahmer's apartment, and this is where everything took a turn for Dahmer. The police found evidence to all 17 murders. They found just photographs of that Dahmer took, and just all the dismembered body parts that he left. And Dahmer confessed immediately. He didn't try to fight it at all. It was just very calm arrest. He just went in peace. But then in 1992, Dahmer ended up being sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms, which is over 900 years in prison. And he's being held in the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin, which is not far from his hometown of Milwaukee, ironically. But yeah, while in prison, Dahmer's kind of notoriety skyrocketed with his face being plastered everywhere on newscasts, just news channels about Dahmer, documentaries, magazines, just everything. And then the inmates were kind of interested by this, but Dahmer's life and eventually came to an end in November of 1994 when he was cleaning a bathroom and a fellow inmate, Christopher Scarver, ended up killing Dahmer brutally in that bathroom. But yeah, Dahmer's story will continue to live on with people like me telling people like you who are interested in just his whole life that Dahmer left behind, the second life he was able to live, going untouched for 13 years, killing 17 men. But yeah, thank you for joining me on this series of The Silent Killers, where we talked about Jeffrey Dahmer's life. Tune in next time where we take another deep dive into the next most sinister killer of all time. Thank you. When you hear the Milwaukee Cannibal, who do you think of? Jeffrey Dahmer. Did you know that Jeffrey Dahmer actually denied all acts of cannibalism? You got some people trying to ruin your name? You did some bad things, maybe? Contact Pico, the best law firm in the whole country. We don't aim to just cut you a deal or maybe get some time off your sentence, but we aim to completely set you free and set your name free. That's why Pico is the best law firm in the whole country.